Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Are you free?
No.
I love doing that. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. Happy. It's very easy to sit right now and feel joy gathering out here. So anytime something happens and you have to change, it's like how you, your attitude and how you adjust to the change makes the whole difference. So this is our practice. And if you live in community, if you ever live in community, especially Plum Village community and Deer Park community, and change is happening all the time. So if you want to really test your practice, you join the audio-visual team. They are advanced practitioners. So I immediately asked them, like, yeah, you think we can sit outside? And they said, sure, anything, Thay. And I was like, good practice. You know, there's another way to react to that when I say that. I was like, oh, no, right? So I was, I see that they are very advanced practitioners. And not only that, they're happy doing it. I shake Brother Ken Lee's hand, and he's very calm. So very beautiful. I am just so happy to live in community and to know that that we support each other, and no matter what happens, how we react to it. I feel just so right now very happy that our community can do this. Like anything can happen, and I'm around brothers and sisters who stay calm, who relax, and enjoy the dynamics of being alive. So let's breathe with that awareness that we are still in the retreat, the last piece of the cookie. And we're going to savor it, let it soak in our mouth, and we breathe with the air of the sunshine. And if we're lucky, with some hummingbirds. I've been looking around because we've just taken over their space. So don't be surprised if one comes around and curious, what are we doing? You know? So let's breathe with nature. Let's breathe with ourselves, our breath, our body. Breathe with Mother Earth, with mountain, with boulders, blue sky. And we breathe with all our loved ones, our ancestors, all of the world. Dear respected teacher, dear brothers, dear sister, dear beloved family. You know, the rock I'm sitting on, it came when we were building the meditation hall. When we were digging the foundation, we found a lot of boulders, big rocks, and we didn't know what to do with it because it would need another machine to like carry it away. So I told the team to say, you know, we don't need to put it away. How do we put it where it is? And we put the cement around it. And I said, the rocks were here before us, you know. And I was like, you sure you want to do that? So a lot of these rocks, especially the ones in the meditation hall, it's around right there where we found it. So I felt like, you know, I felt kind of uneasy to move the boulder away. You know, I was like, you know, they were here first. Why do they have to move? So when you see the boulders around here, they've been here before us. So in the tradition, and luckily I'd been exposed to the native wisdom, that they see plants, animals, even earth, water, and sky as their relatives. They even have a word for that. I don't know what it is, but I know the translation is like they say everyone and everything is a relative. Isn't that amazing? That's like a family, right? And what I love most is that they have like winged people, and then four-legged people, and then two-legged people. So we're in the same family as the chickens and the roosters. Isn't that great? I love saying we're in the family of the two-legged. That means, you know, and the apes, you know. And so this is anyway, it's just a beautiful way to look at the world and nature and so on. And so I just feel so happy to be here outside. When we built this meditation hall, we had about 6 to 8 months to get it ready. So there was a lot of pressure to finish on time. And when we first came here, we didn't understand the land very much. We didn't understand the plants and the climate. And we thought these bushes are like, they looked like dead bushes, but and so we got rid of a lot of it. And we wanted to bring green plants and tropical plants. And it took us many, many years to learn that it's very hard to, like, you know, keep a plant alive that doesn't, you know, that lives in a different climate. And so this is something we slowly we got used to actually understanding some of these bushes. They look like they're dead right now. They kind of don't have leaves, and they're kind of like, but actually their body is oil-based. That's why it's so fragrant, right? And the oil sucks down, and then when the season comes, the oil come back out. You know, the sage is one of those plants. That's why it's very oily. And there's many oily plants here. And it's very medicinal as well. So things, plants that have to live through hard time, it's not a surprise that they're medicinal, because they know how to survive in very harsh condition. So these plants that soon we started to recognize, like, wow, actually they're not dead. They're just kind of resting. And when the season comes, they kind of like, you know, all the oils come out, and then they bloom, or like, you know, a branch that looked like it's dead, all of a sudden, bloop, bloop, and then these greens come out. So we begin to learn to accept a little bit how things look. And here, if you notice, there's not many wild, crazy flowers and plants and leaves, right? There's hardly any big leaves, right? Because if you try to live here with big leaves in the summertime, boy, you're going to be in trouble. Because, you know, the leaves here are very, rough and tough, yeah? And they have oil base, a lot of them. And they learn how to handle the 6, sometimes 8 months of intense heat. And they're very humble. They're very small, and they're not very colorful. They're not very flashy. Like, they're very humble. They look very, and their flowers are very small. So if you come here and you try to be like, look at me like that, you won't last for long, because it's very. If you've been here in the summer, there's a way to live in this climate and enjoy it. And so this is something that I have learned, and this deer park, this sacred land, has taught me to be aware of where you live, to be aware of the condition, to learn. And lately, I've been actually reconnecting a lot with the agave plant. And it's teaching me a lot, talking to me, and I feel like it's from an archaic, prehistoric time. You ever touch one of the leaf, one of the, it is like, a qigong, it's qigong. It's like, it's just there, and you can come up, you put your cheek on it. It's very cool, and you can receive a lot of energy from the agave plant. But you have to be careful, don't get pricked by the needle, huh? But it's a very beautiful, powerful plant that has a lot also to teach us. When the agave plant is time to bloom, it takes about a month to make a stalk, and it takes a long time, because we do walking meditation every day, so we get to see how really it like, oh, come on, it's just like, it's like a big asparagus. It's like this big, and it comes out like maybe 1 or 2 inch a day, or maybe 1 inch. Maybe I get Walter one day to sit there for a month to film it, yeah? And we can see it secretly growing. And once it's up like that, it's not done, huh? After a month, then it opens this kind of, these little fingers that come out, and that takes another couple of weeks. And then from each one, it opens up again, a little few pieces, and then it opens a flower. I mean, you talk about like having patience and enjoying the moment. That agave plant knows how to do it. And once it opens this flower, it's like a gift to the bees and the hummingbirds, and all kinds of animals fly around. And it becomes like this symphony. And then the hummingbird chase each other. They say, no, that's my flower. No, that's my flower. Yeah? So if you live with us year in, year out, season after season, it's incredible here. The beauty of nature as we experience on our hike. And I'm so grateful to the organizer to have that hike. Oh, our friend, winged relative. Yeah, for us to be in the mountain, on the rock, that's a very sacred spot. Our teacher, we've been there like many, many times, sitting there with our teacher and our community. Our teacher said, when you come here to Deer Park and you haven't gone up there, you haven't really you haven't arrived at the temple, So it's it means it's, don't skip that activity. Put it on the schedule. So I just share you, just sitting out here, just honoring a little bit our space. And we know that, Native people lived here, the people before the Europeans. I think the ones around here, they gave them the name Kumaye. Yeah? And when we first came here, I moved around and explored Deer Park. Myself and Sister Abbess over there with big headphones over there. And she and I and Sister Thay Ngim were the first 3 here. And we lived in the lay friend's house about 20 minutes from here, to hide out there to slowly come up here and see what we got, you know, the land. And the lay friends were afraid. They didn't want us to come up here. And Sister Abbess said, you know, we are practitioners now. We are follower of the way. What do we have to be afraid of? We're going up there. So we left the lay friend's house, and they're like, no, don't go up there. It's been abandoned. It's like really scary. There's graffiti and like needles and kind of weird stuff around here because it was not cared for. But Sister Abbess, I remember she said, "Mình tu rồi, mình sợ gì? Đi." So we came up here. It was just two nuns and a monk, and we lived out in the gatehouse. And each day we came in here to clean and to take care and to learn this place. And at that time, I remember I would go off on my own. I go up the mountain and go everywhere, and I pretend like I am a native person, a young native, you know, exploring things. And I would find like rocks with holes where they did their grinding. And I try to imagine what they cooked and the games they played. Down in the Sister, there are rocks down there that there are many holes in there. So I thought that was like where the kitchen was. It's like, you know, where happiness was. I could see, you know, people washing things, and I think there were a lot of like young native ones jumping around. So I explored Deer Park with that kind of mind for the people who are here, and we honor that by always paying respect to this land and to take care of it for the people who were here before, to honor the trees, this oak tree as well. It had a hard time because we built here, but it survived a few seasons, and once in a while we have to add a little water to it, and so it can handle, because we disturbed a little bit the land here. So we try to be our best to be respectful of the plants and the trees and the environment. And so these are the kind of gratitude sitting here. I just have to share a little bit about that to honor this tree right here behind you. I don't know his name, but it's when it was brought here, it was only half the height. So I feel it's one of my big brother, yeah, or big sister. Yeah, it's very. I just really enjoy looking at it and seeing the what it had to go through to become so beautiful. And when it lets the leaves go, it makes this carpet around, and it makes this beautiful pattern underneath. So these are all our friends, and I want to just honor that, not just the human people, but all the things that has given me nourishment and a connection, I think, to Mother Earth. And this is something you are able to touch when you come here. You know, it's not just the Dharma talk, Dharma sharing, the human area. I think, how many of you had noticed or took time to look at the stars in the evening? Yeah? Yeah, that's beautiful. This is we're not that very far from the city, but we're so gifted to see the, what is it, the Orion pattern, right? You know the Orion one is like over here? Yeah, they say it's a belt. I shared that to the kids when I was doing children's program. And then a young girl, she said to me, it's like, that's not a man with a belt. That is a butterfly. You see? I was like, you're right, it's a butterfly. You know the belt and then the thing, and I was like, yeah, why do we have to think about it as a man with a belt and a knife? It's like, gosh. So it's no longer Orion's belt. It's the Orion butterfly. Okay, so we're gonna change history. It looks more like a butterfly, I think, you know. Yeah, and it's just more appropriate for ourselves. And it's beautiful, huh? To be open, especially with children. They always, they don't accept everything you say. I think, is that right? Yeah, I hope so. In school, sometimes we make them, forget. And so they accept everything we say. So we have to be careful. So I think today I just wanted to, before you leave, go home. Yeah, just really take your time before you leave, okay? How you zip your luggage, how you pack your bag, how you leave and go to your car, and how you step on the gas when you pass the gatehouse. Is you can lose all of this energy quickly. And it's okay, I'm not saying you have to keep it, but it's just be aware that, there's a way to leave a retreat. And for me, there's a way to enjoy not leaving as well. I sit around the corner there and I see people just kind of like shoot on out. But there's a way to leave. So please take that time as you eat, as you say goodbye. There's always a way of transitioning. And so please, as a practice, now you are practitioners, or you've been here for 5-6 days. You're not just a regular person anymore. Now you know how to breathe, you know how to stop, you know how to take care of yourself. Even for 5 days, you have some aspect of that. You, at least 5 days, you didn't get angry. Anybody get angry and yell and throw something? Wow, no one? You would look pretty silly if you did that, right? But we went 5-6 days without, negative thoughts, not dominating us. Maybe it came up, but it didn't dominate us. So leave knowing that is possible. And then, it's very helpful to have community. I have to acknowledge that. But you can do it. So this is something we have to be aware of. And also be aware of the conditions that helped us. The nature, the mountain, and you got a break from your house, and you had friends. So these are the conditions that help us and support our practice. So our practice is very, that's why we emphasize so much. And to find like-minded friends, to find nature.
Everyone tested negative, so I judge you.
Pablo say, you are happy and alive. when I was in Glasgow. I had to test every day to go into the conference that they had for the climate. And I wanted to create something that we can test ourselves, how we're doing before we start the day. You know? Imagine that, like on your app. Maybe they do have something like that. But that's a beautiful reminder for us. Like after you brush your teeth and you go in there and you sit a little bit, and then go, before you leave your room, it goes ding! Now you qualify to go out. And you know, it's kind of like meditation, but it's a little bit more mechanical. People like this kind of like gadgets and like, you know, like you do the COVID test and it goes, oh, you're negative. And they're like, oh, great. You know, there should be a test where you sit in the room a little bit, like after you shower in the morning and then you hear ding. I mean, okay, now I can go and interact with people and not be so lose yourself. So whoever's in the tech stuff, you come to me, we'll do a startup, okay? I have a Chinese side, very industrious. Always trying to make business out of everything. I'm just, what do you call it? Buying time. They want me to like, are you done? They're adjusting something. But I don't really wait, I just kind of... I think that was a broad wing. Huh? Broad wing. He's we have different hawks here. We have a broad wing, and we have a, what is it? Red wing. We have 3 or 4 different kind here. Red tail, that's right, red tail hawk. I always get them mixed up, but you know, they look very different, their shape. And they live here with the raven, so they try their best to be in harmony, but sometimes they do beginning anew in the sky. You ever see them? It's like, ah, 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 and then, yeah, it's great. And the hummingbirds too. Sometimes 3 hummingbirds can really, you know, have beginning anew. Yeah, it's like, don't mess with my nest again, okay? Yeah, he's like, you guys are all positive. Don't worry. One day you will return to the earth anyways. That's what it's saying, you know, I'm translating. Don't worry. You'll be back to Mother Earth in no time. Isn't that great? You're so positive. I was like, no. It's like negative and positive has a new meaning now. Don't be so negative. No, I like being negative. Don't be so positive. Ah! Sorry, my dream is to be a stand-up comic one day. I told some of my monks and nuns, like, no, you can't do that, Thay. That would be sacrilegious. So I told my brother's sister to help me create a, what do they call it? What is she? Okay, a what? A set, that's right. She's in, and my brothers also have some stiff with Hollywood. So I told them, can you guys come together? We make a set. We do a 1-hour set, you know. Stand-up comic, can you imagine that? I think the Dharma teacher will hang my lamp. It's like, Phap Dung, he's too wild. He's not very solemn, humble, or anything. He just talks too much. Are we good? Anyway, I want to share with you just a few things that can help. One thing that has helped me as a monastic is the word condition. Okay? And that's helped me a lot in my practice, especially now. Things are changing, our teacher, our community. And it's just a different way of sharing that things are, when they have good favorable condition, they arise. And when the conditions are not long favorable, it goes back to the earth, right? And that practice is, I've been holding that practice a lot. And that a way of looking at our situation in the human family, as well as in our own life. The conditions that has brought us to where we're at, our history, our past, our family, our upbringing. We are who we are because the conditions that brought us here. And so we're much more forgiving, more patient, more kind to ourselves. So this is that's helped me to be less demanding on myself. As a monk even, I try to be a good monk, 100% mindful monk, 24-hour monk, and I suffer a lot, even in the practice. And so this is the word condition. Yeah, I try to look at the world and I see what is there that is not dependent on other conditions to manifest, right? To come. And so I become like a scientist and I try to find something. And I have found, when you do find something, please come and tell me. So there's another way of saying interbeing, interdependent. That things are all related and connected. This is a way to look at the world. Our emotion as well. When you have anger, now you're a practitioner, you have to ask, it's like, oh, where did this come from? The conditions that made me angry. So you're no longer caught in the emotion, but you investigate. And the more time, the more practice, the more clarity, the more stability, not reacting to it, the more you relate to the anger differently. You see what I was saying? It's not that things don't happen, things don't change, but like how you react and the attitude. So this is the secret to the training you practice. Stopping, breathing, everything we've helped try to create the environment for you to touch that. Walking meditation, sitting, eating in silence, sharing in a particular way, is to help us have this awareness of the different conditions. And it's very easy to recognize because usually it involves change. We are like biologically, built up to react to change. You know, can you imagine? You know, we're constantly like, anything change, we react. The weather changing, oh, it's raining, oh, it's sunny. Oh, when things are different, we kind of like, right? We just react. And if that is connected to emotion or a history, then it can color the way you react. And this right here is my whole life as a monk. Learning to slow it down, learning to delay the reaction. I can react, but I delay it a little bit. Learning to buffer it. Don't let it like go right into you, right? And I can feel that. Sometimes there's something that happen and it's just so sharp. So my practice of breathing is to delay it, to buffer it. And you come up with your own words and your own strategy. And each one of us need to learn this. It's like Kung Fu. My teacher he told me, he said, each one of you need to learn a style. Like a chiu, tiếng Việt, chiu, but I don't know what it is in English, chiu. Các thầy ở sư chú nhớ nha, mỗi người phải tìm cái chiêu của mình. Rất là cool. Thay also studied a lot of like, these kung fu books when he was young. One day he shared with us like some of these stories. What is it? Cái chuyện nói chuyện gì hả? Yeah. Hiệp, vậy đó. Hiệp gì đó. Kiếm hiệp hành gì đó. Gì đó. He told me a book that I should read, and it's all about like these different martial artists, and they each find their own style. So it's like you find, because we each are different, our ancestor, our parents, our upbringing. And the more we slow down and we're not reacting, the more we shed away these layers that we try to present to the public or to others, then you begin to understand a little bit what you have, your kind of habits, and your wounds as well, like Sister Dee was sharing. We have things, and we learn how to accommodate with it. So like you learn how a style to buffer it. So when things crack, things fall, things don't go the way you want, when you breathe, you gotta, I know this one. You see the breath? The breath is like the pause, a kind of take a breath. Okay, I know, I've been through this. And you keep doing it. And then you figure out how to like maneuver it and change it and even affect it in a different way. It's pretty cool. That's why I think it's like mental kung fu. And I learned a lot of this being in the meetings with the monks and nuns. Yeah, and say something that I don't like, I don't agree with, I have a better idea. It's really hard. Especially when you know you have a better idea. Oh my God. And in the monastery, oh boy, it's like, whew, it's a major crucible. So if you ever want to like, hone in and become virtuoso, come and stay with us 1 year. And it's wonderful. So condition, okay? To learn to train, to see with that kind of eye. And to investigate the world, your emotion, mental, any psychological event as well. Where did it come? It wasn't always there. Where did it come from? Why am I like that now? So you investigate the conditions that gave it presence. Emotions, how you look at things, your views of happiness. You want to be a doctor. Where did that come from? Probably your parents. Yeah. Or you want to go into space. Probably a lot of SpaceX texting and following the news. So you gotta like understand where you have these notions come from. You want to be, programming, or go into AI now. It's like very hip now. And so this is ideas, notions. Why are you so resentful still about this person? You see? So please be a scientist, an investigating, a person who investigates why things happen. This is the true path of a practitioner. You didn't become Buddhist. You just come here, touch, and now we're triggering your curiosity to explore. That is the beauty of being human, that we get to explore and reflect and look deeply into things. Isn't that amazing? It's like, and you only get to do this for 60, 80, maybe 100 if you're lucky. And then you go back, you go back to earth, and people have memories of you and they move on. But it's so wonderful to be manifested in this form, to have ears, to have eyes. reminds me, I shared with one of my brothers and sister recently. I came across a sharing a quote from Richard Feynman. It's like a scientist. I listened to his lecture, and he said, "Isn't it wonderful that we have manifest?" He didn't use the word manifested, but I'll use it. He said, "Isn't it wonderful that we came out to be at this particular scale, like not infinitely small or like infinitely large, but this particular scale, so that we can explore the infinitely small and the infinitely large." Isn't it amazing? Wow, like if we have eyes at this particular size so that we can actually go to our knees, use a little magnifying glass, and look at a flower and go, wow. You know, it's like this small. If you ever go up there and you watch the lichen bloom, and you go on your knees with the magnifying glass, you pass by and you think it's like a bunch of stuff. But it's incredible that we have these instruments, our five skandhas, our touch. It's cold, it's warm. So this is what I hope you see our human life is not just the drama. It's just a wonder to be in this scale. Isn't that cool? It's so scientific. He had numbers for it, by the way. And that we can actually imagine the universe and a black hole and then go look for it. Can you believe it? In this last century, we have found a black hole. Like, gosh, and you can't even see it, right? You have to like really create instruments. Sorry, I'm getting into the science stuff. I've been really just reviewing science as and seeing how wonderful the human family, to nourish what we've done as a human family, to kind of like a balm. What do you call it? A balm? To kind of like soothe myself a little bit, considering everything that's happening in the world and the suffering that humans cause each other. I've been suffering a lot with that, this awareness. So I've also balanced it with the wonder of humanity and the things that we've done, and to help each other as well as human beings. So please, one more thing I just share with you is what they call a middle way. And you hear that a lot in our tradition. And that has helped me a lot to not get caught in extreme. And that has helped me in my practice. In the Buddhist teaching, they keep themselves, the practice is to keep yourself from saying something exists and something doesn't exist, but just to be neutral and be open about it. Like, it's very related to condition. You don't say it exists, it don't exist, because if you do, then when it disappears, then you suffer. So it's like, we'll see. So you try to look at things, though that is like, someone give you a gift, and you're like, that's great. And you immediately, you want, if there's an idea to hold on to it, you have to be very careful. Like, okay, let's see how long you're with me. Like my teapot, I have a teapot that someone gave me, and it's really nice. And it's very easy to get attached to it. So every time I look at this particular pot, and it makes a very delicate sound, ding, and I know there will be a time, because it's very thin, and I've hit it a few times. I'll go, not yet, So it's a way of training to be in the world. And the middle way is meaning you don't get to anything that takes away and makes you feel, how do I explain this? I know I can say it as it said in the sutra, but I'll share with you how I experience it. It's like it's a trigger, something to trigger you, and you have to be real careful away, and then don't get pulled to it. And this is very important in our time now, because there's a lot of ideas and notions about things. And we hold on to those ideas and notions, and we cause a lot of suffering. And so this is very Buddhist, and it's very annoying because you can't choose sides. You just kind of say, well, they're both there, and they can be there together. And then depending on the situation, this one's a little higher, this one's a little. So you got to keep yourself from actually getting sucked into it. And so when you share your idea and it's right, it's like, well, it's just a notion, it's an idea, and you share it. So this has helped me in my my happiness, I say. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep from actually going to the sutra. But there's a word, that a phrase, and I think, I don't know if you heard it, this is because that is. You've heard of that? Yeah, that's like, write that down. Actually, we should have that as a calligraphy. You know, this is, well, into being is that. But that phrase has helped me a lot as well. That we are dependent and things manifest because of condition. And so we don't get caught in whether it's like that now, when it changes, we don't suffer. You see the secret? It's very related to impermanence and how to look at the world. And this is the key to the why we practice, is so that we can maintain this way of looking, to not go to extremes. I also love the word extreme in Buddhism. If you become extreme, or you hold a view, even if you are right and it's good and it's great, but if it's extreme, then it becomes wrong. Isn't that awful? It's like, what are you guys? You guys are like, you make my life crazy. Yeah, in Buddhism, unfortunately, that's one thing that really annoys people. You know, if you're right and you're right all the time, then you're wrong. And the only thing I can make sense out of it is like, someone who's right all the time is really annoying. See how I translate it? You see? So the nature is not to be right, the nature is how to live in harmony and not to create suffering. Right? So if you're right in your family all the time, just yield and let yourself be wrong. I know it's a really hard practice. But middle way to me kind of means like that. Whatever you're holding, notion-wise, about things, or even people, objects, ideas, notions, it applies to everything. And if you have a community that's practicing, they will let you know which things, which notion you're holding too tightly. And that's why we need friends, good dharma friends, who can help us release some of these things that make us tight, that make us doesn't flow, right? And it actually makes us less kind. So the middle path, the middle way, it helps us kind of like be more gentle, be more kind. And that's what we need more in the world. And that's kind of like the basic, what I'm sharing. Things that we need more in the world is for people just to be kind and not to be right or to tell other people that they're wrong. But this is the whole premise of Buddhism. It's not about describing the world and how things work and how our minds work, how our perception, but all of it is to help us so we unblock ourselves, we become more gentle, more kind to ourselves, and then in that way we become a nicer and kinder person. And so this is and I was so happy to see so many people take the 5 mindfulness training this morning. I was actually a little bit kind of like blown away. I was like, wow, that's like a lot of people took the 5 mindfulness training. So thank you for for touching that. And the 5 mindfulness training is a way for us to take care of ourselves, right? And so this is a way of being in the world in relation to other human beings and with Mother Earth, the environment. So it covers like almost every aspect of our life. So this is especially our relationships, you know, the third and the fourth, which cause a lot of pain, I think. Yeah, cause a lot of pain. Actually, the first can be seen as relationship-based as well, in terms of life force. So you don't say things that kill people. Yeah. So you also kill people by the way you speak, and you can destroy their. So also being generous, sharing love, sharing kindness, sharing actually what they need, as well as not asking and demanding things that they don't have. That's kind of like killing as well. You kind of like strangle them by your expectation. They don't have it. They can't, they don't know how to be nice. So why do you expect them to be nice? So some people don't have it. Their childhood, their upbringing, conditions that made them like that. My father, my mother, my siblings, my friends, people I meet in the street, you have to keep that awareness. Everyone have a background, a condition. You're at the, the market, and then people behave differently, and they're irritated, and you're mindful, you don't get angry at them. You just feel, must have had a tough morning. So your thoughts become right. So these are ways that the mindfulness training, if you recite it regularly and you continue to study it, it helps you be more forgiving for other people when you can do that for yourself. And you have more space. How many feel like they can go back in a day or two and still like, things have changed, right? Things have changed in you in just 5 days. You'll go back. I hope that you can say something that can help bring life force into people. Right? We need more of that. And you know what? You can do it on the freeway. I had to drive. I was with my brother on the freeway, and we were playing a game: how to get to LAX and be kind without annoying people in the back. Whoa. You let someone cut in front of you and you get the one in back of you upset, you didn't get any points. So even on the freeway is a way to find, kung fu, right? You drive and you're like, okay, that one's ready to go, but I slow down a little bit so that guy's back up, and there's enough space so he can't get angry, and it makes sense that he can cut in. The whole mental, it makes driving so enjoyable. It's not about getting there. It's about how you get there. And you can make a game out of it. This is the first time I ever shared this, by the way. This is a game you play on the freeway. And many of you will be driving. When you drive home, try to find a way to be kind. yield, get out of the way, help that person. They want to get out. I see their signal, or you tag along somebody. You become their second body, their freeway partner. I'm here with you. I'm supporting you. I like your speed, and you see how you drive. I like the car. I like your speed. You're my partner. And you go for. Let's see how long you go. It's so much fun. So you can drive and not be bored, not be frustrated, but actually you feel better when you arrive. So this is many ways, and please find ways. Now you practice, you have a little bit more up than others out there. There are people out there, all they get bombarded with is news, negativity, and their family situation. They're not as fortunate as us. Now that we've experienced this, please, try your best to do a little bit differently. So this is our prayer for our situation now, especially now. You go to the mail place, you go to the market, you go to Staples. Be aware that there's a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. You don't let that enter you, but you radiate differently. Non-fear, generosity, kindness, yield, helpful, but don't overreach yourself. Okay? And then when you run out of battery, come back to Deer Park. And lastly, find community. Okay? Very crucial. Find like-minded friends, go online, look. Now, with all this stuff, you can find a group. If there's no group, make a group and tell us. We will advertise for you. We will put on our website. So remember some of these basic things that I try to share that help me, a way of looking. And the practice, you got to keep doing. So it's all nice and dandy, but you don't maintain it, it also regresses. So you progress, you don't take care, it regress. There's nothing permanent, even your insight. This is what the wisdom of our teacher has, why we need each other. So please help us, because we can't access some of the places that you go to. If you're a teacher, a healthcare profession, a therapist, a yoga, whatever profession you do it differently. It's not a profession. You're going there to be a human being and to spread something else. I hope you're not trying just to get rich. Well, I think that's okay. Get rich and then use money to do good, I guess. But there's a price to becoming rich. But use your workplace to approach differently, so that it nourishes you and it sustains you. Okay. So some of you will probably return to that, and that's our prayer for you. And so now I think we will, I guess, how about we end here with 3 sounds of the bell, just to enjoy sitting. Thank you for listening, for being, to having the courage to come here. The monks and nuns, we appreciate it. That you, there's but I think you here is already chosen and you've accepted our condition as a human family. So I'm kind of like not really speaking much. You already believe this, that you have to move on with your life and to do the minimum to be safe and to do what is, mostly that will help us protect ourselves and others. But we need to move on, like the monastery, Who are we to be privileged to, be not like the other places, the businesses, the hospital that have to serve and help move the society. So the monastery, we feel very grateful that you've come, and it brings meaning to our lives here. You know, for us to just be here and not have a place to contribute, it wouldn't be very meaningful. So the monks and nuns, we live here, and this place is for you. So anytime you feel you need to, and you're overloaded or burdened, overwhelmed, please remember to come back to a center, come back to your Sangha, and that you can replenish yourself. So this place is your home, your spiritual home. So let us breathe with that awareness, that we have a spiritual home here. Breathing in, I am at home. Breathing out, nowhere to go, nothing to do.